Alright, well this is take number 2 we got going here for the James Freel Show. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you know that song? You know that sound? I gotta come up with a better intro line. It's really not that good, and it's really not that creative at all. Anyway, sorry the show's a little late this week. Geez, James, it's Saturday. Don't you normally put these things up by Friday? And it's late Saturday, for that matter. Yeah, I waited a little bit before starting this thing up. But hey, you know, you win some, you lose some. Yeah, efforts are a little low this week, but at the same time, this is definitely an episode that future James will probably want to listen to, because I had an eventful week, and I think future James will be intrigued by this in the future. Let me see if I can rearrange my desk here while still talking. Different sound. Whoops. Second time that happened. Different sound quality this week. I think from now on, I'm just gonna use this microphone if it's just me. You know, I hope you can still hear me. Yeah, the truth is that this microphone, it may not sound as good, and I kind of like the lower quality because it drowns out all the background noise that makes it sound all chintzy. It's kind of like a microphone for dummies, and the only thing is I can't really hear myself while I'm listening to it, but, I mean, heck, do I really need to? As long as the size of the little wavy lines on the screen stays the same, I really don't see the problem with it. Anyway. So, it was an eventful week for news. And if there was ever a week that I should have actually put together a sheet that I used to do like weekly, now I don't even remember the last time I did it, it should have been this week. But of course, no, I didn't do that. I hope you can't hear those dogs in the background. You probably can, though. Alright, so this is the week where there's all that controversy with that group of high school boys at the Lincoln Monument, and the viral video just took off right away because he was standing there with a smug look on his face. The Native American guy was beating his drum. That happened this week. I'm not going to say any more about it because it's really hard to say that without taking sides. It's hard to report on it without revealing what kind of side you're on. And like I said, I want to try to get listeners here. I don't want to be controversial. People don't want to listen to things that are controversial in 2019. The joke is, of course, that they do. So that happened this week. The government reopened yesterday. It was shut down for like a month. And then Roger Stone was arrested yesterday. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Apparently, one of the former Bengals players, Chad Ochocinco, he lived next door to him, and he saw it happening. And it makes sense because Chad Johnson lives in Florida. I think that's where he grew up, and I think that was the last team he played on was the Miami Dolphins after a brief stint with the New England Patriots. Which, even as a Bengals fan, I wanted to see him succeed everywhere he went. You know, he kind of was a showman and everything, but at the same time, I think he cared about winning, and he wasn't obsessed with his stats. He just sort of played the game. I could be totally wrong, but that's the vibe I got because I was a fan of his. So yeah, those are the top news. There were two top news stories. I guess three, because Roger Stone getting arrested, government reopened, and that kid from Covington High School, which is crazy because that's close to where I live. Covington, I don't know if anyone listening to this, I've said before, I'm in the Cincinnati area, and Covington is right across the river from Cincinnati. And yeah, Jeff Ruby, I think, offered to get the two together to meet and sit down. I don't want to talk about that anymore, though. Geez, I need to cut some of the audio back on this, so I gotta pause it if I'm gonna be taking drinks. There's a big, long line in it. In sports, the Super Bowl is set. You know what? That should be next week's thing. I'll just go over to the internet and see if there's any good news in sports. Top news in sports. Let's see here. Jamie Mugia versus Takeshi Inu results. Live updates. Sixers Jimmy Butler out with a wrist injury versus Nuggets. Daniel Jones claims MVP as North wins Senior Bowl. And Tiger Woods makes the cut, but will have a very special to play a very special weekend to have a chance at winning. Yeah, it makes sense. Let's see, top news in pop culture. Top trending news in pop culture. Let's see what we got here. Patton Oswalt helps man who trolled him raise $30,000 for medical bills. Bohemian Rhapsody loses GLAAD nomination over Bryan Singer allegations. Fear of Mueller probe leads Russian pop star linked to Trump family to cancel North American tour. Wow, Russia has pop stars? Ooh, taking shots at Russia. What are you going to do, Russia? What are you going to do? I don't know, have a horrible economy the size of Texas? Yeah, I will say, I hope everyone hates Russia now. I mean, no matter where you stand on stuff, I'm not a big fan of Russia. And I hated them way before all this Russia stuff came out. You know, just Vladimir Putin's a bully. And, I don't know, it's not someone who we should be having a good relationship with. Anyway, do I sound like I'm calling in and talking over the phone right now? That's kind of the effect I'm going for. Who knows? Who knows what I actually sound like? That's the drawback, like I said, from this microphone, is I really can't hear myself. I've been talking to a few people, trying to get some more people onto this show. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. This past week I had a night class, and I got one of the guys, one of the my the other students in the class talking, and he just he seemed to have a lot of opinions that might be interested to talk about. I don't know if I told him, I'm like, hey, I run this really crappy podcast that no one listens to. Would you be interested in coming on it? And he said he absolutely would. Whether or not it actually happens, I don't know. It could be fun, though, having a new person on the show on this lousy episode. So, this past week I had Monday off. You know, it's kind of funny. I've got 3 night classes, and all of them only meet 1 night a week. And the first week of this class, the professor just didn't show up because he didn't realize it was on Monday night. He thought that it was on Thursday, and so he just straight didn't show up, and it was an honest mistake. It was a miscommunication. So then we met for the second week, but then we had it off again because of Martin Luther King Day. College was off for that day. So I'm sorry. My pacing is really weird because there's my roommates. They're kind of talking, and I'm trying to get away. Anyway, and I hope no one I know ever listens to this. That'd be bad. So far, we're off to a rough start. Can we make the comeback? Probably not. So we didn't have class again. So I'm going into the 4th week of what's hopefully my last semester. Well, hopefully and hopefully not. Also, so going into the 4th week, and we've only met once, and I've done I've tried to keep up with the online modules and everything, but some of the stuff can be really, really dry. It's a computer networking course, and I don't know, it's just not really my thing. It's kind of interesting, but no, it's really not. Just learning about like gateway IP address and submasking and all this stuff. It's like, I really don't care about any of this. Moving on. I'm really addicted to Red Dead Redemption 2 right now. I think I talked about that already. So I said that hopefully maybe not. I'm pretty sure I mentioned last week that I think I had mentioned last time I talked that I had a job interview that would be basically my dream job, something that I thought I would have to move away for, but I could do it right here. And I wound up going to the interview on Tuesday, because this is a field service position. Everyone who works out of their home, and so they really don't have any sort of central office building. It's just you work over the phone, you go into hospitals, you do different things. I've told you I work in a hospital before, and so that was that situation. And went into the interview in the hotel. I was definitely overdressed for it. Everyone tells me to overdress for it, so I did feel a little silly going in like that, but everyone was dressed the way that I would dress on a normal work day, slacks and a polo, loafers. Not me. I wore a two-piece suit. People always say they're three-piece suit. I go with the two-piece. I don't think that the suit I wear, it's definitely not fitted for me, but it doesn't entirely look like a tarp is hanging on me. I mean, it looks all right. And I just want to say, overall, I would say that the interview it actually went really well. And I don't think I knocked him dead, but looking back, there's nothing that I could have done realistically to have done any better. Like, I don't think I'm capable at this point in my career to knock someone dead. I just don't think it's going to happen. But there were 3 guys interviewing me. They've got it down to 5 people, I think, that they're interviewing. I don't think they're going to go with me. I don't. I think they're going to go with someone who's got a little more experience, and that's a question I asked at the end. What would be your biggest reservation about hiring me? And they basically said that experience, and generally the purpose of asking that question is to have some sort of rebuttal ready, and I really couldn't rebut that. And I think he might have known that, because I don't know. The interview was super great, though. Like I said, I don't expect to get it, and I mean, part of that is me just being negative, so that I can be pleasantly surprised if and when it does happen. And if it doesn't happen, then I can just what did you expect? Overall, though, it was a good experience. The upside is if they do call me, and they do wind up saying if they do wind up saying, hey, we want to hire you, I'd have to drop out of school for that. And it's something I'd be totally willing to do, but then finishing school will kind of be a nightmare, because I just feel like I'm so done with school. This might be my last semester ever. I've been out of high school for almost 7 years now. 7 years ago I was still in high school, but I'm almost 7 years in, so it's okay, dude, let's pick up the pace here. But the job would still be worth it, and I also would lose all the money because we're past the reimbursement phase of the semester, so there's really nothing I can do about it. Timing's a big deal, and I don't know how well I'd be able to find another one, especially locally. I think that'd be a nightmare trying to find. Moving on. So, there's a big controversy this week in sports. The NFC and AFC championships, which I thought were both great games. People are talking like they were totally ruined by officiating. And I will happily admit, yes, I do think there were some horrible calls going both ways. But the big complaint I have that really stuck in my craw is Saints fans who are acting like... I mean, okay, I gotta give the rant here. Yes, the Saints did get extraordinarily screwed. Had that pass interference call been made, which it absolutely blatantly should have, it was not only a pass interference call, it was also a helmet-to-helmet call. They, like 90, I'm going to say 90, probably 99, not 99.99, just 99%. I'd say 98% chance that they win that. And because they would have had a first down, they would have been able to run the clock down to about 15 seconds, and it would have been a chip shot field goal. That said, kickers have missed chip shot field goals before. What was it, 2 or 3 years ago? Seahawks, Vikings to win the game. It was like, what, a 19-yard field goal? I don't remember, what was that kicker's name? Is he still working? I think he wound up kicking for the Seahawks afterwards. I gotta find the name of this guy. But I'm just saying, like, it still wouldn't be a guarantee. Like, fans are saying they're trying to sue like the NFL for compensation damages for people who bet on the Saints. Walsh, I thought I should have said Walsh before I looked it up. Matt Walsh. News about Vikings Seahawks. Yeah, Corey Parker missed field goal, ranks among the most brutal. Yeah, they're talking about that. Blair Walsh, that's who it was. Yeah, he missed that, and that was unfortunate. But I'm just saying, it's happened before. Chip shot field goals have been missed. Alright? So, it's not a 100% guarantee that you would have won had the call been made. The truth is, I really don't care that they got screwed. Because football isn't decided on one play. Alright? This is basically my spiel. Yes, they got screwed, but the referees didn't force the Saints to blow a 13-point lead. You hear me, Saints? Alright, you were up 13-0. Put the game away, and you don't have to worry about bad calls not going your way. I'm getting a lot. I'm not going to have any. No one from New Orleans is going to want to listen to this show. I kind of dislike the Saints. I love Drew Brees. And I like LSU, the LSU Tigers. But for one, just calling your team the Saints, it's all holier than thou art. That kind of annoys me. And then also, the first NFL game I went to was Bengals Saints. And it was at the Bengals Stadium. And they lost, like, it was either 13-0 or 14-0. We just didn't score. And as we were walking out, I might have told this story before, but there was this guy just shouting to everyone, "Your season looks promising. 14-0. Whole game you didn't score at all. Yeah, your season looks promising." He just kept using that phrase over and over. "Your season looks promising." And I'm just like, dude, it's preseason. I think we did wind up doing pretty bad that year. But that was cool. I got to see Drew Brees. I mean, not close up by any means. But so that left a sour taste in my mouth. So anyway, my first point, though, is just that, put the game away and you don't have to worry about blown calls. Alright? Just the truth is, you put the game away, you play 4 quarters, and it's not like the game was over then. They still had a chance in overtime to do it. The offensive line didn't protect Drew Brees. He threw an interception. This is how the game is. I mean, bad officiating affects everyone at some point. I'm just saying, Saints, you don't got it as bad as you think you do. You're almost as annoying as like Eagles and Cowboy fans. And I do like the Cowboys, but I will admit the fan base is pretty obnoxious. Alright, and my second point about why I really don't care is that Bountygate, in my opinion, is still without a doubt, hands down, the most egregious scandal, game-related. Like, put aside, like, domestic abuse and all that. Bountygate is the most egregious game-related scandal in NFL history, and I say karma. Now, part of that is motivated by the fact that it's the most egregious that we know about, and like I said, I kind of don't like the Saints, so take that into consideration. But hey, it is what it is. So that was my week. I had a few math tests. I really had like a 5-day weekend because I was there on Thursday and I didn't go back into actual school until the following Wednesday. So yeah, I mean, I still had to work on stuff, but still, I gotta say, I'm really getting sick of working in a library, and it's kind of a shame because I've always loved working in a library, but I'm there 8 hours. And before you get all, oh man, you gotta work 8 hours. No, I've worked 8 hours. I've worked 10 and 12-hour days before at other jobs where I get to repair stuff and work with my hands. I got no problem with that. Problem with the library is you're just sitting there checking out books to people. It's soul crushing. You don't get to really do anything fulfilling. Today I took a drive, one of those drives I just enjoy doing, where I just put the GPS away and just drive off. And I wound up in Indiana, and I found this library, and I read my local they had a copy of the local newspaper there, so I read some of that, and it was a good time. It was being able to just hearing local news like that local, because this wasn't local as in Cincinnati local. This was local as in the neighborhood of Cincinnati that I live in local. So that was interesting. Gives me this like whole Mayberry feel. And I gotta tell you, I do love the Andy Griffith Show. It's a good show. You know what show I haven't watched in a while is King of the Hill. That's still probably when I think of my favorite shows of all time. That's normally I'll just go with that one as number one. So last night I went out with my special lady, and I gotta say, I don't know if the markets are just changing, but I don't think baby boomers are totally full of crap when they're saying that like stuff isn't as good anymore. I think we went to a chain restaurant that's like tries to be fancy, and it is for my money, it's fancy. But if you ever talk about how you like this restaurant, you're seen as a redneck, which I guess I kind of am. It's Olive Garden, okay? And I used to like Olive Garden, but Jiminy Christmas, like, I don't know, they just herd you in there. You're sitting in basically a dolled up cafeteria, and people around you. We went there really early, so there's a bunch of early bird specials there. Not deals, but just older people, and everyone's yakking, and I don't know, it can be kind of depressing in there sometimes. Then you think about, wait, am I really spending 40, 50, 60 bucks on this experience? I don't know. But after that, she needed a new laptop, so we go to a computer store, and I got a friend who knows a lot about computers, and he sort of taught me all the different things they do there, like just little, not scams, but what their tricks are, what they're gonna pressure you to get, what they want you to get, and everything. And she only uses it for web browsing and Word. That's it. And so I hold on. I'm looking around, and I don't know much about computers, but I'm thinking, okay, I think i3 is the lowest I would go for a processor, but we wound up even going lower than that, just like one of the really slow ones. But got her one of those Microsoft Surfaces, and it had pretty good reviews online. So I know they always try to push for the extent. So we knew what we wanted, and we're waiting for a sales representative so that we could say, hey, we want to buy one of these. And I go up to this dude. He looks to be about 22, 23 years old. And I'm like, oh, are you free? And he's like, what do you need? He's like, we want to buy one of these. He's like, oh, I'm actually a manager. I'll have a sales rep over for you right away. And, you know, in hindsight, that might have been kind of appropriate because I guess as a manager, he can't do stuff for me. But it was the way he said it. Like, he had to make sure that I knew he was a manager, and I think he took great joy in that. And hey, you know, he probably worked really hard to be a manager. So we wait about 5-10 minutes. The guy comes out, and he got really short with us because I kind of shut down everything. I just wanted to pull it off the shelf and get it. I didn't need anything, and he basically, I know their sales ploys, like, I told him we want this one, it was the cheapest one, and so he goes, so what are you going to be using it for? And I'm like, web browsing and Microsoft Word. That's all we use it for. That's it. He's like, oh. So that took away a lot of his ammo, because if I would have said, oh, we like playing games on it, you know, watching some intense movies, do a little bit of video editing, he would have been like, oh, you're going to need something stronger for that, you know, which, I mean, in fairness, we would. But the thing is, because we were going with the cheaper one, he, you know, I took away all his ammo, because it's like, oh, yeah, you're right, if that's all you're doing, you really don't need a strong one. He's like, and we picked the one that had the lowest amount of memory space, because one, she's got an external hard drive, two, the only file she's really saving on there is some photos and text files. And it only had 64 gigabytes of memory, but, you know, the biggest text file ever is what, like, not even 10 megabytes. So, I mean, if I'm wrong, you can tweet at me, at James Freel Show, or email me, thejamesfreelshow@gmail.com. I'd be happy to hear what you got to say about it, so, if you think I'm full of it. And, so that I took all that away, and when he came up, he was also like, got any questions? Like, nope, we know what we want. And I guess that, because, you know, when his boss sent us over to help him, you know, his commission isn't going to be very high on it, which, you know, I feel bad about. But I mean, I really didn't need his help, and I realized they can't just put the computers out there, because someone could just like run out with it, and that's got to be a nightmare. So yeah, I bet thievery is a really hard thing to combat there. I mean, when you're just working with such expensive stuff, you know, it's gonna be tough. I wonder what it's like to do like a crazy hacking thing and watch it unfold on CNN, like those people who steal everyone's credit card information, and then you know, it's like I don't know, Target is facing backfire after compromising millions of people's credit card numbers and all that jazz. I don't know, it must be kind of a thrilling experience, and I wonder how well they cover their tracks so that like the FBI can't get to them. By the way, I think I was right with my Super Bowl pick. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I predicted a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl, because I thought everyone was saying, you know, oh, the Saints are going to take it, and I was like, well, that's what they were saying about the Vikings last year, and it wound up being the opposite. The Patriots will still get in, but, you know, and take that, Jaguars, by the way. Jalen Ramsey's such a... I've hated him so... yeah, AJ Green was a little rough on him, but I think I speak for a lot of people in the league when I say, you know, if AJ Green punches you, you probably deserved it. Jeez, how did I get on this topic? That was because the Jaguars were in the AFC Championship last year, and I'm glad that they fell off to irrelevancy because I do not care for them. It's not really that team, it's just Jalen Ramsey. I really, like I said, I don't really care for him. Alright, I think that's gonna about do it for this week of the James Freel Show. Keep an eye out for the possibility of having a guest on in the near future. We will see. Alright, everyone, thank you so much for listening. This has been the James Freel Show. Have a good week. With the